Hi, I'm Nia. I'm just going to talk through my portfolio that helped me gain entry to NCAD. So first of all, I started by making large pieces, mostly like A3 scale or A2, just to have a lot to display in the folder, which I thought was really helpful and clearer to see. So here, I started with photography from travels and sketched over them, just as like a travel piece for my interests. Here is a piece I actually don't think I included as one of my main pieces in the portfolio, but it was really nice to experiment with textures such as like charcoal and wire and bubble wrap. So that helped me get inspiration for more pieces. Here is a piece I really liked. I think I did this in the summer of 5th year, we're going 6th year, and it's basically just acrylic of a goat's eye over like an oat field, based on like kind of veganism and animal rights, which I thought was really interesting, and using recycled oat milk cartons for the border. And then here is a storyboard that I did, also based on a vegan app, because I was interested in graphic design as well, so I thought it would be cool to include some interactions. Here I decided to take photos from the National Gallery, and which I found like a really inspirational place to go to gather thoughts on what I would do for my portfolio. So I'd recommend that, and going and seeing art and just gathering inspiration. And then I mounted these and did a painting of lilies that were in my kitchen, and kind of put it over this and painted on a Polaroid just to get like different textures and backgrounds, which I think is really fun to experiment and include in your portfolio, just like mixed media and things. Here's a portrait I did that I mounted on 2 old notes that I just kept on my phone, which I thought was pretty interesting, just to like turn my thoughts into art, and yeah, it was a different take on a portrait. And I also researched fast fashion and the ethics behind it, and decided to use a vintage tote bag that I got secondhand, which I think is also cool, just to use different materials instead of just sticking to paper all the time. And so I just painted like a woman with someone sewing her dress who get paid a lot less than the models who wear them, which I thought was pretty fascinating. And then I developed this further and just took pictures of barriers that I've seen around my neighbourhood, and kind of looked into the barriers of fast fashion and between designers and models, and the unfair and unequal world that it can be. And then also used offcuts from a vintage jumper and sewed onto that just for use different material. Here are some self-portraits, just kind of quick life drawing, which I wasn't really interested in too much, but I found that it was really helpful to just include a bit of life drawing in the portfolio, because I feel like when you first start, you're drawing a lot from models, and it's just nice to experiment with line, and yeah, that was pretty interesting to do. And here again with charcoal, just 10-minute studies, which I think is good, because when you first start, I find that you're spending a lot of time doing quick drawings and it's not all finished, so it's good to be comfortable with that and experiment with non-finished pieces also. Here I just used myself as as a muse, as I did this in lockdown. So yeah, there we go, just bedroom portraits, I guess, because I did this all January 2020 for the submission in February, March, so it's all pretty quick, and some inspiration from sketches previously, but that was fun. And I also decided to experiment with digital art and using CAD and SolidWorks just to do something different, which I thought was pretty cool, because I was also very interested in architecture. And then here is lino printing based on meditation. So I find it important to kind of use my passions like music and meditation, and well, the whole idea around mental illness and like recovery as a base for my portfolio, which I found helpful. Here is a 3D piece that I made out of clay, just architecture and the work leading up to it. And here is using a lino block to paint onto, which again was fun to do using different materials. And finally, here's a watercolor piece based on found materials from the beach. And another painting, which I think I did in 5th year, and that I really liked on like an old film camera. And then as I was interested in product design, I decided to make a little prototype of a guitar that folds based on my own experience of having no guitar bag to bring around and trying to find a solution to that. And then here are my sketchbooks. I did this just out of boredom, just at night. It had no particular direction, but it was just fun to include many different ideas. And I think it's also important, when I was doing my portfolio, I felt kind of stressed that it wasn't all particular, not all my pieces were linked, but I found that that was actually quite okay, even though I just went back to things and sketched again and found more inspiration in places I didn't think I'd be able to. And it's also okay to have unique pieces as well that don't all link, because it shows more experimentation, which I think is also pretty helpful to show all your different trains of thought. Yeah. So here's just some prep work for the main pieces.